friends, it's Andy coming back to you to finish part 2 of my important lessons learned video. I had a little technical difficulty, so now I'm just going to tell you the last part of the story. So kind of the moral of that story was, I was in LA, the producer and the artist, they told me they wanted me to play more aggressively. I couldn't believe it. But you see, this was grid work, and in the Pro Tools recording realm, and with a lot of pop music these days, it's all snapped onto a grid, and then they fly things around. So what ended up happening was, the synth bass pretty much played the main lines in the verses and in the choruses, but the bass guitar played all the fills that led everything together, and also there was a few different actual features, almost a bass solo that they fiddled around with and put some effects on and stuff like that. And that ended up being my contribution on that record. So the meat and potato stuff on this particular recording session, the meat and potato stuff was handled by the synth bass, the keyboards, and then I added the licks and the melodic movement stuff and the features. So, you know, I wouldn't have expected that. I went in there thinking that they would want the meat and potatoes, and it turns out they wanted me to be more aggressive. But the real moral of the story is that it's always a better vibe when someone comes to you and says, can you do a little bit more? Can we kind of, you know, make this a little more interesting? Can we add something to it? How can we embellish this? How can we make it cooler? That vibe within the creative process is always better than, do you think you could tone it down a little bit? We're gonna need to subtract some of this stuff. See what I'm saying? So the vibe, so coming in with the fundamental approach first, and then leaving room to add cool stuff to it, and leaving the opportunity for the artist and the producer to make suggestions to make it more interesting or have more movement in the bass or whatever. That's that keeps the creative process fun, right? As opposed to being in the studio where they say, psh, 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 we need to tone it down. You see what I'm saying? So if you always err on the side of thinking fundamentally, there's always room to add stuff later. That's what I learned from that. So I hope you got something from these two lessons that were important in my journey, and that you can take them out and maybe in your own plan or your own experience, you might be able to think of that when the time comes. Or maybe this is something that you've already experienced, many times, and it's just a good reminder. So there you have it, just a few important lessons that I learned along the way, and thanks so much for checking out the videos. Have a great day.